This is how it is today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is today. This is how it is today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Oh boy, I love that intro theme. It's real bouncy. So, good morning, everybody. It's
Happy
Military Monday. Yay! It's first day of the work week, and I am wide awake. I've been up for a couple hours and prepping for this day. And boy, oh boy, how many people are in the chat right now? Let's see. Pulp Metallicus can't show up on the show, but you're in the fucking chat. You son of a bitch.
Yeah. What are you doing in there? You need to be on the
I see
panel.
Misto is here too. Look at that. Snortopupus. Hello.
Hey, Snorty.
Redshirt's here too. Good morning, Redshirt. Shinatsky. I think Shinatsky's the only wrench out there right now other than Martin, who's governing things from behind the scenes here.
No, we have deleted.
Oh,
the
Lauren
wrench
has
too.
popped in. Lauren is sitting right there, approximately 10 feet from me. So she is here too. And Emmanuel is the first one that showed up here. Bonjour. Bonjour, mon ami. Read by Nature is here. Did Gerry look out his high school photo for the thumbnail? No, that is actually from a recent photo. It just, for some reason, AI makes you look younger.
And I think that's weird.
It also takes all the gray out of my hair.
Gets rid of
For
the
some reason.
blemishes.
Weird. You think that's weird? Hear this, Anima. I submitted my pictures to the software that Gerry recommended me, and it gave me hair, which I do not have because I shaved my head, and it made me a gringo.
It did. It really did. I saw it, and it was just like, holy shit, you look so white. So Anglo. It was
What a
weird.
racist
It gave him
program.
poofy hair, too. He had poofy hair on top. It was funny. It's like, does it not know how to do shaved head?
Apparently not.
It's kind of funny. By the
Hey,
way,
Richard in
I
the
see
house.
you added it, Martin. Thank you very much for downloading and adding that. I thought I would
You're
go
welcome.
ahead. Because this song that I wrote, it has great personal significance, not just because I wrote it, but how and when I wrote it, because I wrote that in the middle of the night. Pope Metallicus is here.
Yes.
Dell
How's
won't
it
be
going,
the
guys?
only Marine. So I wrote this song at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I know this because I went back to the original files and they're all timestamped.
Mhm.
So I know the day and time I wrote it. It was the 16th of December of 08, right after I had put my dad in the ground. And all of the shit that went down that weekend, cleaning his house. And I broke up with my girlfriend over the phone from my dad's apartment as I was cleaning it. And because, you know, she's like, I'm always going to come second when it comes to your daughter. And I'm like, even
Yeah.
my needs come second to my daughter's. That's it. I told you that when we met, you know, and I couldn't believe this is a VA nurse that she was having that problem. And I went, and I just over the phone, I was like, yeah, well, good. This will allow me to focus all on my dad right now. And I got off the phone and not in a bad mood. And I just kind of chuckled like, people can pick the shittiest fucking times to just say the wrong thing to you. And I didn't let it bother me. I don't let shit like that faze me. There's more important stuff. My daughter was more important. So we finished that. I went home and I put her to bed and I couldn't sleep. and I sat up, and I was in such a dark, disjointed place mentally. My dad was dead. I broke up with my girlfriend all in that short period of time, and I didn't know how to feel or what to feel or what to do. And my subconscious came out. And this song was like, I believe my subconscious was trying to make me feel better. And that's why I think it's interesting that I chose to use a woman's voice on this song, because it really is the position of the maternal side of the mind, which, Anima Confusa uses in her name. The word is anima. And to be a good songwriter, you need to be able to breach that in your mind, the anima aspect of the male mind. And so here's that song. I'll just play it for you real quick. There it goes. And I've got great news, everybody. Skipper is here. Good morning, Captain.
Oh my God.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Morning, sir.
We're all doing fine.
Morning, Cap.
You're not the only Marine here, sir. I have my buddy Pope Metallicus here, and he is a big fan of yours.
Oh, terrific.
Very big fan, sir. Great to meet you. And I actually served in one of your old units. I was in 1st Battalion, 5th Marines.
You
Did
know,
you hear
I'm
that,
not-
Skipper?
No. Hello.
Technology is once again our friend.
Say it again, Pope.
I was just mentioning, sir, I actually served in one of your old units. I was in 1st Battalion, 5th Marines.
1st Battalion, 5th Marines. That's where Pope served.
Yeah. I was with them in Hue on the north side.
I was with them when they were back over in Camp Pendleton.
I can't hear Pope. Gerry.
Clear on my volume. Might be on my end.
So, but basically, look, because I know you don't have a lot of time, and I just wanted to talk to you about the film. I also pointed out earlier that this is where you and Julia met, and she regaled the story of where she felt the impression that she didn't know what was going to happen, but you were going to be significant in her life, was when you were helping her clear out her Willie Peter bag.
Yeah,
And-
it's funny how little cues and signals like that hit you in the making of something as trivial as a film. But she showed me, I think, early on what courage she had, and I really admire courage in the face of adversity, in the face of life in general, that sort of thing. And that makes me want to know more about a person. If they're courageous, what is it that inspires them? What is it that keeps them going? And I found out with Julia that was just part and parcel of her. It was magic.
That's part of what you look for with a partner in your life, is somebody that you can also turn to and know that they're going to give back into the relationship what you do. And courage is always important in relationship because of things that you have to confront and face in this life. And boy, with and I still proudly, 18 years I've been working for you, Skipper, and it's one of the biggest things I'm proud of, is that I work for Dale fucking Dye. And I've always joked, I said, there are only 3 men on this planet that ever made my ass clench when they spoke to me. That's my father, my XO in the Army, and you. And it all depends on what you say to me the moment you say it.
What a tribe I'm in. Okay.
So getting back to this, guys, by the way, Joe's Atmosphere is also a veteran, U.S. Army. He was an MP, but we forgive him for that.
Oh God, Garrett, come on. Somebody's
But
gotta-
he proudly look at his wall behind him. That's his family.
Yeah.
All veterans.
Yeah,
His
I
dad
said-
was a drill sergeant.
that's Dad right there.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, great.
Yeah, he was at Polk sending kids to Vietnam when I was born. I was actually born here in Louisiana.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a Southern
from
boy.
Boston, Massachusetts, same place Pope's from. Yep. I tell everybody
Yeah.
I'm a transplanted Yankee. My
I
parents
get
from-
it. I get it. I'm the same thing here in Texas, but
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make an exception. I generally shy away from MPs because you can never tell when the statute of limitations runs out on some captain kid. And he's gonna say, assume
I
the
hear you.
position.
I hear you.
Well, I told Joe what we called MPs. We called them military pricks.
And nobody wants us till they need us, you know.
Good, they need you. But again, thank you again for showing up today. And
Sure.
I'm hoping Julia might pop back on because, you know, she worked on this film just as much. And
Yeah, she did.
this film, and I have a love-hate relationship with this film, and you know why. Because it strayed so far from the original source material.
Yeah.
But you brought something to the game that I appreciated so much in this film, which was the military aspect of it. And you got to leave doing modern or World War II stuff, and you got to do science fiction with this.
Yeah, the
Pretty
amazing thing
excited about that.
Yeah, the amazing thing about it was I didn't know what Paul Verhoeven's take was going to be. Like a lot of other veterans, I had carried around Starship Troopers, the book, the Heinlein novel, in my sea bag all over the world. I mean, it was fun to go in when you had those downtimes and just read that again. You know, Space Marines, regardless of what Heinlein actually said, that's what it was, and I knew it. And so,
yeah, they were insertion troops. That's what they were.
Yeah, and I went out of my way to get on this film. It was difficult to get through to Verhoeven, and finally, I just made a deal with his producers, and I said, "Look, let me train some troops here, so that you're not in a big misorganized mob when Verhoeven wants to shoot these scenes." And they said, "Okay." And I said, "Oh, well, look, now that you've agreed to this, can I get an idea of what Paul's take is on this thing?" And I got to meet him and shake his hand one time, and he really kind of dismissed me. Well, okay, you're the military guy, but that doesn't matter. And I knew right there we were in trouble. Of course it matters. This is Starship Troopers. But I figured out what I should do is just go ahead and build a unit. If nobody gets in my way, I'm going to build what would have been a battalion of Marines or a regiment of Marines in the 25th century. Call it the 8th Mobile Infantry. And nobody ever said no. So I just went at it tooth and nail. I invented scenarios. I invented uniforms. I invented patches. I invented tactics. I invented everything I could think of and trained to that. And nobody ever said, no, do it this way. And that was because Verhoeven at the time just didn't give a damn. What he wanted to do is create this little love story between Dizzy and Casper Van Dien. And I got that. Casper was a nice guy. And this was his shot, so let him go. But what I decided to do was, unless Verhoeven said, don't do that, I was going to run that unit, 8th Mobile Infantry, just in a relatively tactically sound way. And I was able to do that for the most part, although Julia will tell you that what it boiled down to, the individual tactical measures for a Starship Trooper boiled down to fire 28 rounds and run. And that was
fire 28 rounds and run.
That was essentially where we were with this thing. But we did have a good time with it. Look, who knows what the tactics should be for fighting insects from outer space? So hell, I went with it. I let my imagination run, and that's what, for me, although I was as disappointed as you were in elements of the film because of the departure from Heinlein's original, that's what made it fun for me.
Well, the film was done, and I've talked to people about this. It was kind of a parody of the World War II propaganda films.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah,
I understood what he was trying to do. He's doing RoboCop type humor, so I kind of got used to that. The thing that kind of threw me, because turning Diz into a woman was kind of shocking at first, but then I didn't bother it. I wasn't too bothered by that, because I'm like, look, if you're going to be in co-ed military, shit like this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And people are going to be banging out in the field. And so I found the film pretty entertaining. A great big departure from the book. I was disappointed also that all the budget went into the effects, that there was no money left for the armor. And so that's
exactly right. The armor was crap. And man, I'm telling you, to wear that uniform and the armor that went with it, especially the boots, was just death. We had more people go down, with heat and with foot and ankle problems and all that sort of thing. And there wasn't anything I could do about it because it wasn't designed by anybody that was familiar with what your body does.
Right.
So look, I think that's probably right, Gerry. If you didn't read Heinlein's Starship Troopers and you just saw the movie, you'd probably get a hell of a kick out of it. But if you carry that baggage into the experience of watching it, you're always going to say, "What the hell is this?" So yeah, again,
yeah, because like Rico and they were all Hispanic. The main 3 of the main characters were Hispanic. They were from Buenos Aires.
Yeah,
and they changed that in the film, and it's weird. But I understand he was going for that Germanic Aryan look, that he wanted that.
Well, he was trying to
how
make
did that impact you?
Let's call it what it is. He was going for the Nazi look, is exactly what he was doing. And I mean, just look at the uniform they gave me to wear as the commanding general. If that isn't
coat, fuck yeah, that's Nazi.
By the way, Skipper, that's my girlfriend Anima Confusa. Her real name is Danny. She's from Austria, and she's a big fan of yours. So go ahead and say hi to him, Anima.
Hi.
You're not the only one that can rob the Crable Skipper.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
So, look, your general reaction was there conflict on the set over some of this stuff for you? And I don't know, has it been long enough to where you could talk candidly about that?
Yeah, I guess. Look, I was disgusted by some of the way I saw Verhoeven taking this story. And I had 2 options. I mean, it's kind of like when you're in a bad outfit in the military. You got 2 options. You can try to opt out of it, keep inserting papers, floating papers, trying to get yourself transferred, or you can try to change things from within. And in my view, the more courageous way to go at it is to try to change things from within. So while I was sorely tempted several times to just say, I don't want to be part of this. The fact of the matter is I did want to be part of it, and I volunteered to do it. So I made an attempt to change what I could from where I was. I didn't have much influence because Verhoeven was just going. He's a hard-headed Dutchman, and he's just going where he's going to go, and that's it. But the more I would see things moving in that direction, the more I would say, I don't know how much I can influence here. And in fact, I didn't influence as much as I really wanted to.
And I've run into the conflict as an artist. That's why working for you has been the happiest experience of my life, because I know exactly what you guys want, and you know exactly how to tell me to do what I need to do. And
I can shorthand.
Run into that.
I mean, you submit a drawing, and I look at it, and I say, no, I want this, but I don't have to go through a lengthy explanation. I just transfer it to military terms, and you get it right away, and off it goes.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I'm proudest is that I hardly ever have to be corrected by you, and because I get where you're coming from, and once again, I want to point out, before you worked in Hollywood, I followed you religiously because you published one of the magazines that I read religiously, Soldier of Fortune magazine. So when you went to Hollywood, I was like, this is going to be awesome. And by the way, just for you, I always have this clip handy.
Dragon!
What was that from? Invaders from Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
That clip is a classic on our channel.
And I tell people that was your first movie. and I was aware of it. I knew when you were in it. I knew who you were. I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking Captain Dale Dye.
Yeah, I was trying to crack the Hollywood nut at that point.
Well, you made changes. I'll tell you that you changed the way cinema approaches the military, because Hollywood. If there's any group in the world that doesn't understand soldiers anymore, is Hollywood, because back in the day, we just talked about this the other day, Skipper, where we were discussing that Hollywood used to be populated by men that were in combat, directors, actors, and many suffered. Jimmy Stewart, Clark Gable had PTSD. Audie Murphy. Oh my God. And we just don't have that anymore. So Hollywood.
No, we don't. I mean, look at it this way, Gerry. If you take all of those World War II veterans that populated Hollywood back in the through the late 40s and the early 50s, they brought something special to the role, an insight, an understanding. But then you pick up in the late 60s, early 70s. When the auteur, the new wave auteur American writer directors came in, and actors came with them, a relative handful. You could count the number of veterans on one hand, and those guys were like me. They were agey and ugly, and nobody wanted them. So it was a difficulty, and that while it was a difficulty, I think that's what gave me some success. Once I proved that you could make a better entertainment product, a better informational product, if you did it with guys who had some insight into the role they were playing, you did much better in the overall effort. And that's essentially what I did.
I got a question.
Well, it's an important role you played for sure. And that all came about with Platoon, which, by the way, I remind people, you wrote the novelization of the film Platoon.
I did, yeah.
Which you signed my copy years ago, and I cherish that thing. And and I've always told people, I said, my only problem with the film Platoon was the last line. Everything else I was fine with. I did dislike the fact that it showed the difference between the beer boys and the weed boys.
Yeah.
And
look, here's the problem with Platoon. I love the film, and I always have a soft spot in my heart for it because it essentially launched my career. Yeah. But you cannot sit and say or view that film and say, all right, this is the way Vietnam was for everybody. Because there, as many years as we were in Vietnam, there are that many different stories. If you were at the DMZ, that was one story. If you were down in the Delta, that was another story. If you were in an Army outfit, that was one story. If you were in a Marine Corps outfit, that was another story. So there is no definitive Vietnam story. And Platoon suffered early on from critics who said that, well, that's the way it was in Vietnam. No, it was the way it was for one outfit that Oliver Stone was with. And he made it, he didn't try to paint with too broad a brush, but people took it that way. But that said, it launched my career. So I've got to say, whatever anybody wants to say about it, I'm happy that we made it.
Well, you've had a good, my gosh, I mean, you played Barnes in Mission Impossible, which is a character I wish he'd come back because it was kind of an interesting character.
Yeah.
And there was more to the character that ended up on the cutting room floor. And I hated finding that out. But
you hated it. Well, when I found out there's going to be a Mission Impossible 2, 3, and 4, and 5, I hated it because he didn't call me to bring Barnes back. So.
Oh man, and you've had a close relationship with Tom, which I have a very particular love for Tom Cruise. I always point out, this is how I describe it. I'll get your reaction from him. He's completely and utterly insane, and always trying to come up with an idea of how to kill himself in a film. But the guy loves an audience more than any actor I've ever seen. He loves his audience. And he does everything for them. He kind of reminds me of the American version of Jackie Chan. That it's all about entertaining his audience and making them happy.
Well, you know my theory, Gerry. He just became an actor so he could do all the crazy shit.
That's true, too, I
learn
think.
learn all these crazy things.
That may be right. Yeah, I tell you what. You know, I've had a long. I played Tom's dad.
That's right, in Night and Day.
And I've had a relatively long relationship and a pleasant, friendly relationship with Tom. He's not a complicated guy. He knows where he's going, and he's going to get there, and he's going to do whatever's necessary to get there. What I admire about him is his heart. The guy has the biggest heart. And I think some of that is fool's courage with some of the stunts he does. My God, did you see the closing ceremonies of the Olympics?
No.
He rappelled, skydived.
Oh, I saw a photo of that this morning. So
yeah.
That's what that was from.
Yeah. And he does that. Can you imagine what he had to go through? Just the logistics of getting all that done. Absolutely amazing. And he does that really because he likes it. It's not about, I'm going to make $1 zillion doing this sort of thing. He's already got several zillion dollars. He does that stuff because he likes it. And that relates in large measure to what you were talking about, which is he loves his audience. He wants to give them that thrill. He's an old-time entertainer in his own way.
Yeah, and I wholly see him that way. He is the last of the real movie stars. It really feels that way. By the way, I wanted to point out this scene in particular because the relationship between Rico and his dad ends up evolving in the book that we don't get it in the film. Instead, they just show the sergeant, what's his name? Sergeant
Rashek.
Not him.
Lieutenant Rashek.
Sergeant Zim.
No,
Oh.
Zim. Thank you, Zim. Zim gets the thunder at the end, which I think is great. But that was originally in the book because, as I recall, because I haven't read it since the 80s. Last time I read it was, I think, 86. And I remembered that his dad ended up being a private in his company.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Volunteered because his wife was killed. And they left that out of the film, and I went, oh, my God, that was a great emotional payoff. I wish they kept it in there.
Yeah,
But,
listen, part of the problem, and one of your listeners mentioned it in a text here, but part of the problem is that Verhoeven had contempt for Heinlein's work, for the source material.
Oh, you can tell.
And so
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me. I mean, well, it surprised me at the time, but in retrospect, it doesn't surprise me that he would ignore those touching moments, like his dad ending up in his unit and all that sort of thing. By the time we were into it that far, I kind of said, okay, whatever he does, it's going to be ludicrous, and here we go. So,
Right.
Well, Verhoeven's kind of famous for that as well, where, you know, even with movies like RoboCop, he basically started out to create like a parody of the American justice system and ended up creating a character everyone loved.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because in this, by the time everybody watched it, he was kind of going at it from a left-leaning point of view, but he created something that was actually kind of right in the middle with what I'm called, what do you call it, libertarian.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
and
he was confused all the way. He didn't know where he was.
and I've always said that because I always considered him a little bit insane. Paul Verhoeven.
Little bit?
You think?
Yeah, I've watched every film he's made, all the way back even when he was shooting overseas. You know, and I just think it's just a little bit of crazy in him, and I think that's why he's not too sure what the outcome's going to be for his films, and that's why I find it funny when he thinks he's making this film and it ends up being something else. In this one, I kind of get it because this is a nod in many ways to me for All Quiet on the Western Front with Razek, his teacher, because that's very similar to the relationship he has with that one sergeant and that his teacher served in the original film and book.
I hadn't
And
thought that, but yeah, that's a very good point now that you mention it.
and I am curious, what was your impression of Michael Ironside? Because he is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Look, I didn't have that much to do with him. You know, he wasn't really interested in anybody training him or teaching him things. And
One
so
of those
I
actors.
yeah, he thought he knew how to do this, and I was in his way. And
Ooh.
so I backed away and let him run, and only mentioned something if it was really atrocious, and he should fix that. But other than that, I mean, I think he's a great actor, and I had a a nodding relationship with him.
Now,
I
I've
had a
met
question
Casper
for-
Van Dien a couple of times too, and he had great things to say about you when we met each other. And how was your experience with him?
Casper,
Yeah.
look, he's a great guy. At the time, he was a great kid, but he was like a little sponge. I mean, whatever I told him, he soaked it up, and you would the next hour or the next couple of hours, you'd see him demonstrate it. He
Right.
was so anxious to do this film. And later on in the film, after we were a couple of months into shooting it, I had dinner with him. I had a couple of beers with him. And I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he said, "It's not what I thought." And I said, "I know, and you're to be congratulated for going with it. You're trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit here, and
Right.
and I get that, and you're to be congratulated for doing it." But I think he was disappointed in the overall way the show was going, because he had certainly read Heinlein's book.
And I think that anybody who read Heinlein's book would, because to this date, Skipper, the only version I've ever seen of adaptation was the Japanese anime version that came halfway close to doing the book, and still they shied away from some of the stuff. But I said, you got to get into Heinlein's head, and I'm curious if we could talk about that for a second, because Heinlein did not like President Eisenhower. And that's really what brought this book about. He didn't like Eisenhower. And
Yeah, it's the military-industrial complex thing that Eisenhower warned about, and I think Heinlein respected that. But he, in general, wasn't a big Eisenhower fan. He wasn't a big fan of the
as I
Eisenhower.
recall, it had to do with his backing off of nuclear testing that upset him the most. And so,
well, I think that's certainly what the deal was. How much did he let that slip in? I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it at the time, and after the film was done is when I began to think about the Heinlein-Eisenhower relationship, and then military-industrial complex and nuclear testing and all that sort of thing. I was too busy trying to stay ahead of Verhoeven when we were shooting it to think about that sort of thing.
yeah. Because, well, I can tell you that, like, Heinlein had some really interesting ideas that I don't agree with. Anybody who served took that oath. We took that oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And his idea was that there should be two tiers of citizens.
Yeah.
Civilians and citizens. Citizens are people who served their country in some fashion. It didn't have to be military, but they had to serve. And he believed that you shouldn't have a right to vote if you didn't serve the country, which I was like, did he really believe that? What do you think?
I think he did. Look, I didn't know Heinlein personally, but I've read a lot of what he's written, and especially articles that he's written that aren't. I'm not talking about the novels he produced, and he certainly had that view. He thought, I think, that we all owed something to the nation that gave us so much and brought us up. I shudder to think what Heinlein would have thought about the current immigration situation around the world, not just here, but in UK and Europe in general. He would have thought that was atrocious. Absolutely,
He'd probably have a stroke over it.
Yeah, yeah.
because it's pretty horrifying what we're seeing right now. A complete lapse in respect for the individual and individual liberties. Because I tell people in the United States all the time that they forget we're not free, we have liberty. If we have certain freedoms, but if you want to test it, George Carlin said it best, go walk into a store and try to walk out with food. Now, 10 years ago, nobody would have got away with that shit. But now you see people walking into the fucking food line and just walking out with baskets.
And what I see a lot, especially
and look, we got to do something about it. You know, I'm in general, I stay away from politics on things like this, but we've got to
especially on the shows. I try to avoid it, but it's hard to avoid it now with this. It's maddening. It's like because all what I stand up for is like, here's my real position: liberty. We should all have liberty. We should all have the right to speak our minds, say what we want, and not have it defined as hate speech, but also with the freedom to speak our minds, equally free to receive criticism for what we think and say.
Yeah, but look, here's what you're ignoring there. I agree with you 100%, but there's a price for that. And the question in Heinlein's mind, and sometimes in mine, is what price do you pay for that? It's virtually untethered freedoms. So do you owe something for the blessing that is? Well, Heinlein certainly thought you did. I think you did. Look, I'm absolutely. I think we've talked about this before, and I've only got about 5 more minutes. But I'm an absolute proponent of the draft of selective service.
Ditto.
It doesn't have to be military. But it needs to be.
You have to serve your country. 2 years.
Of mandatory service to your nation of some sort.
Absolutely.
I think that squares away a lot of things.
That's what we have in Austria. It's not 2 years. It's, I think, 8 months if you go military and 1 year if you go social services.
Love those
that's how,
right.
That's how Arnold served his country. He was a tanker. A lot of people don't know that.
There'd be a whole lot more national pride if that was.
What sucks is that it's still for males only. If you're female, you're free. You don't.
Yeah.
Have
Fuck women. Nobody cares about women.
If you're able-bodied, sound in mind and body, you should be able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you think of? Because I mean, by the way, Reed wanted to know if you had interaction with Michael Ironside. He missed that you'd said that, and I told him yes. You had your interactions. You explained it that he wanted no training, but he delivers a line in this film. Before you go, I want to talk about, because every single time I've seen somebody use this line and say it, I believe they're saying it incorrectly. Do you want to live forever? Which was delivered by Dan Daly at the Battle of Belleau Wood when they charged the Germans. And I think people misinterpret what he's saying, because I believe what he said is, you're probably going to die here, but if you do this, you're going to live forever. No one's ever going to forget.
You know, the truth is there's some question of whether Daly really said that. But that's not the point. The point is, what he said was, come on, you son of a bitches. You really want to live forever? And off they went. But I think your interpretation of what he meant is exactly right.
Yeah, because I've always interpreted that way, because, I wrote a little bit about the Boxer Rebellion, and I tell people, you want to see what the mettle of that guy was? Read what he did on that wall.
Yeah.
I mean, the man
No sleep, man. They were terrified in that international city. But there are elements of that in this. There's also a little bit of beau geste in this. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think so. Look, there's a certain philosophy when you get into a situation that's really out of your control. You can cower, or you can get up and go, or you can try to inspire people to go with you and overcome the obstacle that you're facing. And when you make that decision to go to inspire people to follow you going on there, that you're certainly in beau geste territory.
Absolutely. And I'm when they go to that base there that's been overrun, That's all that reminded me of. Immediately, Beaujesse popped into
Yeah.
my head. That one and
Mhm.
another great film from '77 that I love with Gene Hackman, March or Die, which I
Mhm.
just love that film. And I'm curious, did you see that film?
Oh yeah, sure.
What did you
Marche
think?
Breve in French, and it is a Foreign Legion catchphrase. You often see it tattooed if you can ever read all
March
the
or Die.
tattoos that most legionnaires have. You often see it, Marche au greve. It means march or die. And there's a certain spirit to that. It's pretty ugly, but there's a certain spirit
It's
to
brutal.
it. Yeah, it's
brutal.
brutal. And it's a Beaujesse thing. I get it.
So I'm sorry, I just looked Oswald says, Gerry said, come on, biatch. Do you want to backdoor forever? Oh, we got a
Go.
backdoor reference. We're gonna save up on that because we only have Skipper for a few more minutes. We're reaching the end of it now. And I just want to tell you, Skipper, I'm so glad whenever we get a chance to have you on. And again, I can never say enough. Working for you and Julia has been the greatest gift of my life, and I'm going to leave this life happy knowing I work for you. It'll
Well,
probably
thank
be
you,
on my tombstone.
I get it. You've produced some great stuff for us. I mean, the eye-catching covers of the Shake Davis novels is all Gerry Kissel. It's exactly.
Yeah, I got to paint Dale Dye into book covers, man. Is it twice now? Twice.
Yeah,
because
I've
the
noticed,
Havana file,
Havana file and Delta file. Yeah.
yeah, Delta file, which was great. That was one of my favorite covers. Doing that where you're walking away from the camera in that image. It was fun stuff.
All right,
Shake
gotta go,
Davis.
guys.
All right, Skipper. You take care of yourself. Simplify.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it, and talk to you later.
God bless you, sir.
Okay, Gerry. Talk to you.
Bye-bye. So there we have it, guys. That was my boss. And I'm serious, the guy, he'll give me occasionally one or two notes, and I immediately know exactly what the guy wants. I just, having worked for this guy, I understand him. I get Dale Dye. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. I always get so
Hell yeah,
excited.
man. I wanted to get a question in for him, but it was pretty much answered during your discussion. How the actors
I tend to
interact.
ask good questions of him, so he likes my interviews because I get right into the stuff that I think's important about
Yeah.
like the making of this film. And I got to be honest, this is probably the heaviest part of what he was involved with. This and the combat scenes. He was directly involved with all this training shit to make it look as believable as possible. I love this moment right here. Cries out for a medic. I'm like, you don't need a fucking medic. You need a mom.
Yeah, that was one of those like, buddy, I hate to break it to you, but it's a little
You don't
late
call for a
that.
medic right then and there. In fact, the only thing you're gonna do is just sort of sit there and look at him going, oh, he's fucking dead.
Right.
Dude, it's like in RoboCop calling for paramedics after the AD 209 mincemeat of that
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of
It's
the
like,
bullshit
bro,
moments there.
you'd be better
Clean
off
up
calling
on
up
aisle
Roebuck.
9. Clean up on aisle 9.
I want you to look at that right now. Mr. Tickle Trunk has been a member for 33 solid months. And we love Tickle
And we
Trunk.
have-
It's so awesome that he dropped in today.
We have Cam. Oh, Mr. Stickertron, thank you very much. We have a super sticker.
Thank you, sir, for your service. This channel floats because of people like Mr. Tickle Trunk.
Is that a
And,
controller crossing his arms with sunglasses dropping on his face? Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
I think it is.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Glenn Fleming is here, good friend of mine. Another one of my many limey friends. I love Glenn. Good artist on his own, by the way. I never thought I'd be on a podcast with Dale Dye. Well, sort of. I'll have him
Uh,
back again. I always like to invite Julia too. My thing with Julia is she's the one that runs the ship,
Yeah.
and I'm always cautious of her time. But she's so much fun to hang out with. We'll get on the phone and we'll just talk for hours. She is really one of my best, closest friends. And I'm so happy that Anima finally got to meet my boss, the guy who has been a surrogate grandpa to my daughter.
Really?
I've met him before briefly. But that's the first time I was on
Monkey
a show
Jeebus
with him.
says they need to call the medic to harvest the fresh donor parts. Well, he ain't donating
Okay.
his brain. It was all over the sand.
Yeah.
And I got to tell
Brain's
you, having
gone.
met Casper Van Dien twice, he is a really genuinely nice guy. He really is. I had a great conversation with him the last time about Skipper, and he just talked about how wonderful he was. We have Audie Murphy's To Hell and Back, but that I'm going to tell you something, 11 Alpha. The single most watched episode of Military Monday is our coverage of To Hell and Back. It is over 55,000 views now.
Wow.
And I'm
really?
proud when we get to talk about that because I was kind of hoping Don would be here, but he was. I think he slept in today, to be honest. But he you know, is a member of the Brotherhood. I forget what the name of it is, of something of the Purple Heart, Brothers or something of the Purple Heart. And he was one of the members, and it was founded by Audie Murphy. And for soldiers who were wounded in combat. By the way, if you didn't catch it earlier, there is an image of a guy that's like a newscaster or something saying something into the camera. That is Lassie from Psych, in one of his early first roles, was in this movie. And also this gentleman right here, everybody knows as Hank from Breaking Bad.
Mhm.
The brother-in-law, and he's a federal agent. Federal agent.
No,
in the show.
yes, he started as a cop and then get to the DEA, but he always was a mutant in Total Recall.
Total Recall. That's right. He had the weird-looking vagina head.
Mm.
All
By
right.
the way, we have another super sticker for me too.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get to the video. You're interrupting. Thanks, Martin.
My
I want to
pleasure.
thank. I want to thank Mr. Tickle. Are you going to do it again? Go ahead. Just say something like "you bet."
No.
Fuck you, Martin. Right. Thank you for the $10 super sticker, Mr. Tickle Trunk. And I'm going to play this video again because I love this video of the skipper.
Dragon!
Now, if you don't notice it in the film, he is already gray-haired. He actually darkened his hair for Oliver Stone in Platoon because he was already fully gray-headed. He had a shock of gray hair in the late 70s. Yes, he was in both.
Oh my God, Mr. Chicatron. Thank you.
Canadian. Fuck you,
Yeah.
love. Fuck you, love. I don't always say hi, but I do still watch. I'm always glad you're here, man, because we love you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. And for that one, you get this
It
one.
means be advised that I'm mean, nasty, and tired. I eat concertina wire and piss napalm, and I can put a round through a flea's ass at 200 meters. So you go hump somebody else's leg, mudface, before I push yours in.
Okay,
I think
I
my
didn't
favorite
see
part
that
of
one.
that is
Hey,
Muttface.
hey. Wait,
What?
look who's here.
Hey, John, buddy. Man, E-Hacker is an old friend of mine. I've known him for years. He's a great dude, man. Living the life in Japan, man. And what always shocks me, he's got a New York accent, and he speaks fluent Japanese. And it just cracks me up to hear a Japanese spoken with a slight New York accent is fucking awesome. If you do not follow E-Hacker, go follow that guy. He was one of the people leading the way. That one and Colonel Kurtz were the two leading the way on the Johnny Depp stuff. And also Marilyn Manson. Just absolutely dope stuff, man. Great videos. His assessments are always spot on. He's a news hound for entertainment news, and just the best.
He's also
And
up
I've been
late
following
because in
him.
Japan it's like 1 a.m. now.
Yeah, and I've hung out with him because I stayed up like really late one night just to hang out with him and another dude from New York that lives over there, and he's a gaming dude, and we just hung out and talked, man. It was fun. I wish we lived in the same time zone or closer. I would hang out with John all the fucking time. I just love the guy.
There's a few YouTubers over in Japan. Jinja Ninja is another one that great artist, and man, I don't know how they.
By the way, 11 Alpha, I got to tell you a funny little story during basic training. We had to use some of the old latrines at Fort Leonard Wood out in the field training areas. And they're old wood cabin-like buildings, just shitty, dark, no lights inside. And you walk in and it's got the smell of death because it's a row of toilets that are just holes in wood that you got to sit on or pee into. And it is the grossest, most disgusting smell you've ever smelled in your life. And I walked in and I put on my pro mask before going through the door. And everybody after me started doing it. And I'm like, yeah, you guys weren't smart enough to figure this shit out. You had to have the
You actually
SWAT
found
leader.
a good use for mop gear, did you? Wow.
Yes, I did, my friend. Did not smell shit in there. It was awesome. And
I just used to use my M40 to terrorize people when the pandemic first hit. I would just walk in. I would just walk into a store or whatever with that thing on.
You want me to wear a mask? I'll wear a mask, motherfucker. Yeah.
well, you'll like this one, Pope. When one time we were just fucking around in the barracks, and we put our poncho liners on and put our pro mask on, just the cover part. And we're walking around making this sound with our arms out like Frankenstein, going, and slowly chasing people. It was a game of tag that we were playing. And the drill sergeant walked in. It was his day off. He didn't have to fuck with it at all, but he showed up and he just stopped and stared at us. He goes, "What the fuck are you people doing?" And I turned around and I was one of them with the mask on. I said, "We're slee stacks, sir." Or sergeant. We're slee stacks, sergeant. Led to one of the biggest fucking laughs in the company. We're slee stack, and that's what we were. We were slee stack playing, Land of the Lost. But Penny, by the way, I saw your note. Congratulations. That's fantastic. I think I started, didn't I? Oh, no. I'm sorry. I misread it. I thought you had a new grandson. So, you have the grandson. So, yeah, watching the show at double speed. Mephisto, was Dale there when Verhoeven chased the actors with a broom to mimic the height of soldiers? Yes, he was. I can tell you that he was. I recall those Entertainment Tonight clips of Verhoeven. He clearly loathed the source material. Absolutely. He is like so many that loves to throw the word fascist around, forgetting that fascism came from socialism. It's extreme leftism. Right wing has nothing to do with it. And they call it, well, right wing tactics. I'm like, so far, the only people who've exhibited that tactic were left wing.
Yep.
The tactic you keep bringing up. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's not true. I've read it so many. That's not true.
They call everybody
it is true,
that, and
it
they practice that.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Reed. My music is available. You want to share that link, Martin, to my channel
Yes.
for the music? Backdoor. That's two backdoors that I know we owe. Did Denise
They're all
Richards
over.
really request to be in the boot camp along with other troopers? Actually, yes, that's true. And by the way, again, Julia, my boss, that's how she met Dale. She was in that boot camp too. I like this scene. I really do. He lets Sergeant Zim decide. So he has to be taken out. And I was told early on in this scene that part of the reason why Verhoeven didn't want to do this is he didn't want to have a white guy whipping a dark-skinned character, because I said, well, he's not dark, he's Filipino.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, Rico is Filipino,
Yes, he's Filipino.
living
Yeah, he's
in
Filipino.
Buenos Aires. And I just thought, that's just bullshit. I don't believe that is true at all.
Absolute
A
bullshit.
white guy whipping a black guy or a dark-skinned guy. I'm like, yeah, it's absolute bullshit. I don't buy that. What it is he wanted the fascistic look, the Aryan look of these characters. And so therefore, the whipping scene really doesn't really mean much in this film. It really doesn't hold any weight. And I always thought it was one of the non-essential moments in the film. You know,
Yeah,
and they
it's
left
kinda
something
there.
else out of the book, that during all this stuff, 2 guys got whipped and 1 guy got hanged in the book.
Yeah, that
And that's
would've been
because during an incident where he went AWOL, he killed a child.
Oh.
that would have been a really impactful scene, and to show the discipline that the mobile infantry does have.
Yeah.
But this
Oh,
one was just
Verhoeven
kind of
didn't
there.
read the. No, I doubt he read the book. He's
He's
not going to read
he-
something from somebody he hates.
he read 2 chapters and his words, took the book and tossed it. That's what he did.
One of the greatest science fiction books ever written, and he treated it like garbage. And Dale said it, you know, even he agrees that he doesn't like what Verhoeven did. But ironically, the film is beloved for the things that he loathed.
Yes. The military loves it.
Yeah, he was out to make a bunch of space fascists, and the audiences went, "These guys are fucking cool. I love it."
I've always felt bad for Denise Richards because of her relationship with Charlie Sheen. It was a
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor
Oh,
girl.
Yeah, that poor
that
girl.
is a rough.
Yeah.
That is a rough road, man.
Oh,
Crashed by a
absolutely,
squishy-
RoboCop. The original RoboCop design was Judge Dredd. I don't know if you guys know that. There was a sculpture.
Yes.
The first sculpture was basically Judge Dredd. It looked just like Judge Dredd. I recall the Entertainment Tonight clips of Verhoeven. Yeah, let me go ahead and drop that one.
He
grab
seems
that one.
one.
What?
He seems like one of the. Yeah, he seems like one of those guys that is a really like mechanically a great director. Like he knows films really well, but when it comes to political ideas and shit, he's a lunatic.
Oh, absolutely. But one of my favorite films he did before he became famous was Flesh and Blood with Rutger Hauer and Brian. I just forgot his name.
Yeah, Flesh and Blood
Brian-
is great. I
Brian
agree with you.
James.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Brian James. Bit over the top, but I did enjoy that film.
I did
Also, what's her name was in it? She played the princess in it.
She's in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She's the chick in that movie.
Yeah, she's also Vic Morrow's daughter.
Phoebe Cates?
Phoebe Cates.
No, not Phoebe
No,
Cates.
not Phoebe Cates.
The main character of the show. Judge Reinhold's
the-
sister.
Yeah.
Takes her to get an abortion. Hang on, I'm gonna look.
And
it
boy,
up.
I got to tell you, I went to see that with some of my high school buddies, and we were like laughing, going, "Oh my God, it's fucking Judge Reinhold! We went to
Right.
high school with that guy, still playing a high school kid."
Jennifer Jason Lee. Jennifer Jason Lee is her name.
Jennifer Jason Lee. That's it.
Yeah.
She is Vic Morrow's daughter. Let's see. Did Dale Dye have interaction with Ironside? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Talk to him about that read.
Yes. You're repeating this. Oh, this is a question, or not a question, but this is right for you, Gerry, because you knew the man and you love your Guinness.
What?
Oh, Reed Van Etcher said you should look up Roger
Oh,
Howard
I've seen
Guinness
those.
adverts.
Yeah, I've seen them. They're great.
Mhm.
He loves.
Absolutely
He loved. I keep forgetting he's dead. God, he loved Guinness. And I want to point out again, that guy had a great sense of humor. His personal fucking email, and it doesn't matter anymore, was fartvilla@aol.com.
Fart Villa.
Yeah. FARTVILLE was
Oh
Rick
my
Howard's
God.
personal email. First time I ever talked to him was over the phone. This is back in, I think, 2000, first time I talked to him. And we'd been doing Blade Zone for several years, and he knew who we were. And so I had a great conversation with him, but I swear to God, while he's talking, he kept belching. Like mid-word, he'd like say something and he'd continue. And I'm like, I probably caught him like right after lunch. But I had this fucking image of him in a pair of boxers and a fucking wife beater t-shirt on. Just it's the image that got stuck in my head because of that incident. Your granddaughter is due. Oh, freaking awesome. I'm so happy, Penny.
And it's
That's
her
great
5th
news.
grandchild, I think. She said something on Loki's show earlier.
I'm still only going with one. Only one grandchild. So I never got to address the chat. He looks so different in this than he did in anything else. It's kind of weird. But he looks like crap in a uniform in this. And I thought it was interesting they had a black guy whip him.
Well, most of the instructors that you see in that camp are black.
But I think it was done visually to be juxtaposed, that a black guy is whipping a white guy. I thought that was interesting. I love the model ships in this, by the way. Hey, CJ, the Action Grip. What's up?
Yeah.
I love the miniatures in this. And there
They
is a
are cool.
mixture of CG in this and miniatures.
They made some of them made me think of Space 1999, the main craft in that one. You know.
Yeah, the Eagle.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yep. For its time, I think the special effects still stand up pretty good in this flick. I really do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it still holds up, especially the.
So
the
I
Warrior
still owe
Bob.
some stickers. Let me get these stickers. I need to get these videos going. So I owe another breach. We got some breaches. So where are the breach videos?
Oh,
There we go.
Tom, David's here. Oh my God. I'm begging you, please, just go now out the back door. I'm sorry, just...
When I go, it'll be through the front door.
I know Sean Young, and I would have
forgot about
say
that
when
one.
she said that to me.
Back door secure.
And that's 2 back doors. I owe one more. Let's see. Well,
Car just pulled up to the back door.
so there are 3 back
to
doors.
Judy.
Getting back to the special effects on this, man, my favorite scene in this whole movie is when the Armada is closing in on the planet, and I guess you'd call it an artillery barrage from the bugs. Those they're shooting all that stuff, trying to get to the ships. That was awesome. I love that scene.
They are backdoor bombs.
Yeah, right.
Now that's a CG right here. This is CG, and there's the actual model getting the top knocked off.
Right.
The conning tower. So there's some cool.
And this
Did
was
Tim
that
show
weird
up
period in
with you?
Hollywood where they kind of were having okay CGI interact with physical models in very odd ways, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am planning, by the way, to do the first show to really focus on doing CG effects on TV, which was Space Above and Beyond.
Ooh.
And I've added that to the list of things that we're going to do on Friday. Oh, wait, what was that? That last one? Yeah, even AIDS doesn't want to live in him.
Charlie.
The music. Oh, the soundtrack. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the main theme for this is just brilliant.
Well,
Yeah, it is.
you can. There are parts, and you can see that Basil Polidorus was stealing from himself because there are parts that sounds like RoboCop.
Yeah.
It does. It does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they do that a lot. John Williams does it all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
he'll
the
have-
master of
his
that.
stuff sounds the same.
He'll have
yeah.
incidental themes in there that you can match between Superman, Raiders, and Star Wars.
Dude,
Do you think
when-
if they
when-
weren't flirting, that they might have noticed the meteor sooner and potentially saved many lives? That's a good point. Bitches, man. Everybody watching this movie. By the way, it really did throw me that they made Diz a girl, because Diz is a dude.
Yeah,
in-
and
in
he's
the-
Rico's best friend.
Yeah, he's his best friend. So it was really kind of odd, but they created this love triangle, which, look, man, in real life, every single soldier says, yeah, you fell for the wrong girl. You should have stuck with that girl. Oh, but she has to die. So inevitably, he's probably going to go, because she lost her boyfriend. He lost his girlfriend. How convenient. We shall comfort each other in the end. So, but he talks to his parents, and then that's it. Buenos Aires is blown away. Yeah, they bred the Hispanic out of Brazilians.
Jeez.
I have a friend from Brazil, and when I met him, I expected to see this little dark-skinned guy, about 5'9". I meet this guy. He's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed giant. He was 6'6". And the first words out of my mouth was, "You've got a little Yahtzee in you, don't you?" And he just laughed.
The boys from Brazil? Hmm?
The Boys from Brazil. Good movie.
Yes.
I loved, again, just like with RoboCop, the insertion of these little adverts for the military.
Yeah. Would you like to know more? Yeah.
Would you like to know more?
It's just awesome.
I'm doing my part. Hey, look, it's Max Headroom. It's not Matt Frewer, but he just kind of reminded me of him there. And a lot of people don't realize that's fucking Doogie Howser, man.
Yes,
Doogie
he is.
Howser.
This is the first thing he did big after the series ended.
Yep.
I
Am I
also
the only
love
one
the
who
sense.
hasn't seen Doogie Howser? I have no idea about that series.
I love that whenever they show the alien killing something on one of their promos, they censor it. I love that.
Yeah.
I also love these kids stomping beetles.
Yes.
Oh, that was cool. Only a dead bug is a good bug.
They're doing their part, damn it.
Yep.
No, the only good bug is a dead bug.
Dead bug.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I love that this part of the movie, like this aesthetic, went on to like not only become like identifiably part of the Starship Troopers universe, like not like everything done since has had this, but also other stuff has copied this stuff, like Helldivers 2, obviously. Like,
They
there was,
even
like,
have an homage to the thing, and I think it was Casper Van Dien that was in the game that voiced the character.
I think so.
Wasn't
Yeah.
he in? Wasn't he in that? Yeah. Never
Well,
knew.
no, he wasn't in the game because it's mostly a multiplayer game. But like the opening intro is just purely a FedNet propaganda broadcast. It's fucking
I was
glorious.
fixing to say, all I've seen is the trailer, and it looks totally Starship Troopers, man. It's pretty damn awesome. Yeah. What did they call it? Managed
Yeah,
liberty?
managed democracy.
Managed democracy.
democracy. Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to manage over in the UK, and they're threatening to arrest us. And my comment to that is, remember the last time you tried to do shit like that here in the United States? What happened? Didn't go over well, did it?
Pretty sure we kicked you out.
Well, at this point, they've managed to unite
Twice.
the Irish against them. So
Well, Ireland's
At
in
this
bad
point, they've
shape
managed-
too. Ireland's in bad shape.
But you saw that picture, right, where you had guys flying the tricolor and the red hand of Ulster walking arm in arm protesting
Yes.
this shit.
Yeah,
I was fixing to
Catholics
say,
and
you know,
Protestants.
shit's bad over there whenever the Protestants and
Yeah,
Catholics.
And the
it's like-
Irish and the Protestants are getting
Yeah.
along.
Like I have this feeling of a whole bunch of like, you know, Northern Irish state police and also like, you know, British special forces from back in the day looking at that picture going, oh, this is bad. This is very, very bad. They're terrifying enough when they're shooting each other.
All right. Now this
He's
guy that
mobile
played
infantry.
this guy, this fella right here, I thought he was pretty good in the film. He's pretty much the.
I got to
the
tell you,
counter-
he's
I know.
he and Clancy Brown are the two best actors in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of the dialogue and acting is very stiff, but I think that was intentional.
It's also very cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was meant to be cheesy. I think a lot of it was intentional, and I think that that's kind of what makes it work. And of course, this is a parody of the propaganda films from the 40s.
Mhm.
It's also, there's a little nod in there, and I don't think that's accidental, to All Quiet on the Western Front and Beau Geste.
So, have all of you
And-
guys read the book?
and
Am
you
I the
heard
only one
Skipper
who just
agrees.
watched it?
Yeah, I've read the book. I don't know.
I
how
have
many
never
times.
read the book. Never
Oh,
read
okay.
this book.
So we're in the same
No.
boat, Joe.
Yeah, I've
This-
never, I've never read the book. I thought this whole movie was a propaganda piece. You know, really the way it came off, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was great. So
Oh, I
This
had fun.
is too true about recruits.
yeah,
They really do this shit.
yeah, they
Oh
do.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
do.
tried to get me to go out and do that.
Well, they
And
got
I
you.
said, I don't ever want to have a tattoo. But then I got fucking hammered one night, and one of my guys fucking used a cassette, you know, little cassette for music. Used that with a guitar string and India ink, and gave me a tattoo, which I have to this fucking day while I was in the army.
Could be worse.
That's good work though. I'm not gonna lie.
Got mine in the army too. It's a Garfield with a drill sergeant's hat on him.
See if you can see it better.
Yeah. Of
Wait,
course.
wait.
I have my-
Let me engross.
Yeah,
Boom.
that's nice. That artist was pretty good, buddy.
Yeah.
If you used that to do it,
It
yeah.
never got to be finished because they were supposed to put originally they were supposed to put right after Combat Medic, Angel to Some, Devil to Others.
Yeah.
Train to heal, train to kill. Heal and kill don't rhyme, but
I got mine for free. I saw Garfield on the wall when everybody else was going to get theirs. I wasn't even planning on getting one. And I
Well,
saw
if-
Garfield, and I said, how much would it cost for some alterations to that? And the guy said, what do you mean? And I drew that picture. He goes, oh, man, I'll give it to you for free. Let me keep that sketch. I said, no problem. There you go.
yeah. So CJ, if that's true, then I am sexy because I do have a tattoo.
By the way, on regard to this, it was a book. Man, that book created a genre that you may have not been aware that it was the origin, and it was the mecha genre.
Yeah.
All
Mecha?
the thing-
because that's the thing
Yep.
that they didn't have the budget for in this film.
Mhm.
And I got to tell you, the body armor in this is just dumb.
It's garbage.
It
looks so cheap.
Here's my
that's
scene.
all they could
I
afford.
love this scene. It's awesome.
Well, especially
They
when you
spent
read the book.
all
I
their
mean,
money on the aliens and the spaceships. They had
and
no
they did
more
a
money
great
left
job with the
over.
arachnids. I mean, the warriors look fucking awesome. I mean, again,
Yes.
that's become the look of the arachnid warrior in every Starship Troopers licensed thing ever from that point on. But the other thing too is the book spawned the concept of, you know, Space Marines and orbital drop infantry for everything from Warhammer 40K to Halo. Everybody
Quake.
stole from that.
Quake 2.
Yeah, Quake.
Well, it also had an impact on aliens.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Other the helmets and the armor were reutilized by other productions, almost in
Yeah,
film and
'cause,
TV.
they were
Even
the helmets in particular.
Power Rangers used them.
The helmets. Yep. I wanted to pause it here because this is an important line that every Army grunt and Marine grunt knows that line and has heard it. Remember your training. Actually, what's said is it'll save your life.
It'll save your life. Yeah. Yep.
And some of that's true, and some of it is just this guy's about to get shot at for the first time. Just tell him, tell him to remember the basics, woman, and it'll increase his chances at least.
Right.
Yeah, because we all know NCOs get wounded and killed too.
Yeah, they do. Look at that, man. That is awesome. The way
Yes,
they did
it
the
did.
lighting, interiors and everything, it looks great, man. This
Yeah,
still
it does.
stands up to me. Yeah.
Abdulio, it did. I'm trying to what's the fucking thing? It did introduce that concept. It was the first book of Mech War. It absolutely was.
Not only battle suits like that, but also just powered armor in terms of infantry use. That's the first time I'm aware of it being used.
Yeah, because like I always wished that they had the budget that Tom Cruise had with
The Day After Tomorrow?
Edge of
Day After
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Or The
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow. Because that is what I always pictured the armor being kind of like, though the head is enclosed.
Right.
Troops are expendable.
Oh.
While elites are not.
That's another difference between the book and the movie, because in the book, everybody fought, regardless
everybody
of
fights.
rank.
Did I tell you I lost my heart to a Starship Trooper? I don't know what to think about that one, Glenn. What the fuck does that mean?
Oh, maybe he's saying that DC was his waifu.
Oh.
Yeah.
There will always be boots on the ground, man.
Yep.
You cannot control territory without infantry
Not without
to
it.
actually
Period.
control the territory.
Trust me. You know, I was infantry. So was this fucking crazy Marine next to me. Well, over a few. We're grunts, and you cannot hold a territory without boots on the ground. Ever.
That's a fact.
You can do all kinds of damage from the air, but you can't control until you have troops on the ground taking it. I love I always thought it was weird that they called them arachnids because they're technically four-legged. They got 4 legs and 2 little arms.
Yeah, but
And
they gotta
it-
call it something. So
And
They're
it
very
freaks
spider-like.
Anima out watching it because she's like, they're crawling like insects, so they bother me. You know, that's Anima.
I fucking hate. By the way, I found the spider yesterday, and I found 2 more this morning in the bathroom. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
No, let me tell you something. I was asleep one night at my sister's house. We had the basement part of the house. It was really fully furnished. It was really nice. And I'm asleep, and I just suddenly woke up, and I went, and I looked up. Straight above my head was a spider hanging right above my head. You know, not hanging by a web, but hanging on the ceiling. And I went, what the fuck? And then it drops. And I mean, I was in great shape back then, but I couldn't believe how fast I was up and out of that fucking bed. And I grabbed a book and I went to town trying to kill that thing. Couldn't find it. I was up, light went on. I had that book in my hand ready to kill. Could not find that spider. And then I thought, now Alicia was still asleep. So maybe it went in her mouth. And that's what I had to pretend, that it went into her mouth and she ate it. And that's why I could go back to bed and sleep.
No, it's
Worked
not
for me.
awesome one.
By the way,
That spider I just mentioned was crawling across my screen as we were watching the movie. That was like spider overload for me.
wait.
Hey, fuck you, Carl.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Hey, Zach. How you doing, buddy? I do like a lot of the freaking spiders bother me. Flat is bad for them. If it moves behind furniture, I have to move the furniture. Yeah, I've torn a house apart trying to find a spider. I have thankfully never dealt with centipedes. That's one.
Oh, I have 2 or 3 stories with those bitches.
We had so many in Croatia. That's
I was
pretty
fixing to say, Alpha. I'm with you on that one. We get a lot. We get a lot of them here in Louisiana, and
Over 100,000 dead in 1 hour.
oh, would you like to know more? Yeah, they do help control the insect population.
Yeah, they fire the dude and bring in the DEI. Hire.
Right.
And you know what's funny here is he's trying to make fun of conservatives with this character. But everybody knows that when you watch this guy, the only people that act like that are leftists.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the news.
He even uses the magic word. I find it offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at it too, I mean, he tried to paint them as this fascist organization, and yet what you see is real-time footage from the front depicting, the mobile infantry and the government as in something that they failed at, which never happens in any kind of fascist regime. And also, you see in the movie and in the book as well, there are consequences when they fail. That's not something that happens in fascist governments.
By the way, the Roger Young was also in the book. That is the mobile infantry ship.
Yeah, that's where
he's their
he's
primary
stationed,
ship. Yeah. And so I was glad they kept that in the film. Yeah, it looks like they took truck tires and sliced them up for their body armor. And then put some belts through them. I'm like,
The Michelin armor, is that what you'd call it? Michelin armor?
Yeah. Big fan of Greg Gutfeld. Been for years. I used to watch Red Eye religiously.
Focus in the
Red Eye was a great show. It really was. Yep.
Still the only funny.
You're a bit late,
left.
Keith, as usual.
Yeah. On Keith time.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, Skipper was here for at least 40 minutes. We had him here for about 40 minutes. I like this scene. This kind of reminds me of Back to Fluid, the scene in Empire.
I was thinking the same thing, man. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Star Wars influence here. The way they're healing him, a lot of the ships, the close-ups on the ships, you can tell they are models that they built from scratch. It's really cool. Yeah. And
I like her kissing the glass. That was like a great
right.
Little,
Aren't they telling him he's dead? Aren't they telling him he's dead?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They go, hey, you're KIA. Welcome, token.
And,
Keith.
anybody who's been and anyone who's been in the military would knows, like, they didn't say it in the movie, but like just off screen is just like hey, they listed you as KIA. Have fun separating that one out with admin.
I forgot Father Gabriel was in this, man.
Yep, he is.
Gilliam's in this. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And there's Jake Busey with the giant teeth, man. My God, he's got that top row of teeth. They're fucking long in the tooth.
Wow.
And they should have, to show a period of time going by, they should have had him have a military cut during the training scenes. Like everybody would have had a fucking military cut, which is basically, if you've ever been a grunt in basic training, you're fucking bald.
There ain't no high and tights in basic training, boys and girls.
There's none of that. They hit you with the. I love these things. The razors they use. They're gigantic clippers, and sometimes they have to handle them with two hands that have a hose line attached with a vacuum. They just.
Next group, let's go.
That's it. 4 strokes on each side, and you're done. And then this is the insult to injury. You have to tip them.
Yes.
The senior.
Thank you. And thank them. Yes.
If you walk away without giving them a tip and thanking them, your head up and showing how ugly your head is.
That is so wrong.
Hey, man. Oof.
It's the first step to make everybody feel the same. You're
The
all
same,
equal.
yeah.
You're
My battle
all
buddy.
equal
battle-
amphibian shit. You're all
That's it.
worthless, equally worthless.
My battle buddy, I was 125 pounds and 5'11", and they put me with the biggest guy in the unit. He looked like Thor, and he had the hair to match it. And he cried when they cut his hair. He really did. It was just couldn't believe it.
I got stuck with my battle buddy in basic, and I can't remember, his last name was King, but his nickname was Frog. And I remember turning to him one day and I said, do you want to request another battle buddy? Because, dude, you're like the most white black guy I've ever met. You've got no soul, you've got no funk, and you talk like every nerd I went to school with. Wow, hey there. He talked like Eddie Murphy doing a white guy voice. That's how King sounded. And I had to protect him several times from other black guys in the squad, because they would just want to kick his ass because he'd say something to him. He goes, well, that's because you're a dumbass, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Open your mouth when you know you can fight. Shut up.
We all
you're
had
going to make me have to fight for you.
That would just get us into fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but anyway,
and they're not trying to. They're just socially backwards. They don't.
Oh no, some of ours were trying to start shit.
So Rashik shows up, and now he's gonna kick ass. And even though he clearly knows who Rico is, he offers no friendly response or anything to Rico.
That's not what he's there for.
No, he is there to help them win.
Yeah.
And it kind of bummed me out hearing that, because I'm a big Michael Ironside fan. Have been since Scanners. And my God, what a great sci-fi film. And just to hear that about him kind of bummed me out. I'm like, really? He didn't want the training, huh?
Yeah, that's unfortunately.
I dislike actors that pull that shit.
Yeah.
Another one that did that was Meg Ryan. She rejected taking any of the training.
There's a lot of people at every level that are like that.
Courage Under Fire movie with Denzel Washington.
Yeah. That look, my daughter is kind of backing off of her dream of working in films, and part of it's because of the way some people treat you. They treat you like you are on a lower echelon, and they treat you that way, and she does not like that at all. So
they absolutely. And by the way, 11 Alpha, senior NCOs, the cadre in basic, they don't like anybody that comes in with rank. The reason why is they assume that you were a ROTC. And Julio was our platoon guide, and he's like wanting to teach us some drill and ceremony. And he says, yeah, man, I learned it when I was ROTC. And I went, don't ever tell anybody that. Tell them you were a marching band before you say you were ROTC, because they will be up your fucking ass making fun of you. Oh, you played soldier, did you?
Reserve Officer Training Corps. That's what it is. I did it in high school for 4 years. Yeah, and the thing is, you don't have to tell anybody. You get in, like I went in as a PFC. I went in as an E3, so everybody knows you're in ROTC. You don't need to broadcast. If you broadcast it, that means that you think you're better than them, and they take offense. Yeah,
they do. Like I said earlier, Michael Rosenbaum had a similar experience with him. I'm assuming Dale Dye.
No, Ironside.
Oh, Michael Ironside. Oh no, I saw that. Tom Welling and him talking, and that is where I first got my first inkling that Ironside might be a pain in the ass or an asshole. Mm-hmm. Was because of that interview. I'm glad you brought that up, Reed. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't ever want to broadcast the fact you were an ROTC.
Oh, awesome one. He got so tired of that song I shit you not. Every time we got a weekend, I'd come up to him going, me and Julio going down by the schoolyard. He goes, Jesus Christ, dude, I hate that song, man. He had the weirdest accent I ever heard. He was raised between Chicago and Texas, and by a Cuban family. And so he had the weirdest fuck accent I'd ever heard. Because you hear the hints of the Cuban, you hear a hint of Texan, you hear a hint of Chicago. And I'm like, how do you do that? I need a corporal. And that's kind of gay, showing them like doing that. Nobody fucking does that in the military. Nobody gets excited when he gets fucking rank up. It's weird.
No.
I always thought that scene was weird.
Although that is kind of
off-putting.
how it works when you get a new billet. Like when I was made a team leader, it was just that was how it was. It was just like, hey, I need a team leader. You're it. Okay. Like there is no arguing. There is no like, do you want the job?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
This
You
is
gotta
now your
step up
job.
and do it.
You're doing it until you suck.
Even if you don't want to, you got to do it anyway. Yep.
Yep. What is this? I find a bug that thinks, frankly, yes, that's the one that Martin was talking about earlier. Clearly, that's a leftist mindset, not a conservative. Don't forget he was part of Lethal Weapon 2 cast. Who was? Oh, the guy from... Was he in Lethal Weapon 2?
Who?
I know the chick that played Ramirez was in Lethal Weapon 2. But the dude that played Hank in Breaking Bad.
Yes, he was. I think he was one of the killed cops.
Yeah. I also bet you probably put your finger in somebody's food. Monkey Jeeves.
Yes, Dean Norris. Oh.
When Ironside... I got to read over here because the video blocks it for some reason. When Ironside cameo in another game and said, I'm the only one left as a meta tag to Solid Snake, that got me into video game fields. Oh, yeah. Anybody play his video game? Michael Ironside's video game?
Which
No.
one?
Splinter Cell?
Splinter Cell. My brother used to play it religiously.
Yeah,
He
I used
got
to play
every version of it. He loved it. Yeah, I'm not.
It
into
was the first military game I ever played, and I loved it. I loved that game.
You got to like
Because
stealth games to like that one.
It is. It's all about the stealth. Now, look, you can kill, you can get up and fight, but you do better in the game when you don't give up your position. You kill somebody using stealth.
Yeah,
That was one of my favorite parts of that game. Gerry just described a Disney casting sheet. Craft services is the chow area on a movie set, and the only people that are supposed to be eating in there are actual parts of the cast.
I actually
That
had
or the
somebody.
upper tier, or the upper tier members of the crew, like director and eat there. What?
I actually had somebody that does that for a living. That's their business. Come through
Craft services.
Our place.
Well, I hope no tits got through.
Yeah, he got a little nervous during watching that movie. Gerry said, I hope my team does his job. It covers all the titties.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
With
titties.
Monkey Jeebus, because that's all we want to see is Monkey Jeebus in these scenes.
That's right.
Do we?
Don't be mean. Yes, Hank was in Lethal Weapon 2. He was blown up in the house during the card game.
Yep.
I got to go back because I want to show those movies to Anima, and I want to cover them on our Wednesday or Saturday show.
That's the first one with Joe Pesci in it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So the South Africans are in it. The Krugerrand.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Diplomatic immunity.
The line I always remember in that movie is "Free South Africa, you dumb son of a bitch." Yeah, you dumb son of a bitch. It's too funny.
And that was the political stance of the director, because the way he would do it in his films, show his politics, would be shit going on in the background or add little things to the plot, like the whole apartheid thing.
Yeah.
But he also had a lot of anti-gun stuff in the background in Lethal Weapon. In the police room, you can walk around and see these little posters. Go read them sometime. Yeah, it's been revoked. I like when Peter Griffin uses it incorrectly in Family Guy. That doesn't even make sense. I love the design of the helmet, though, in this. I will say that. Because it is kind of reminiscent of the modern Mish helmet and the Kevlar, both.
Yeah, the ones we were using were a lot like that. They actually changed quite a bit since then. Actually, it looks more like that in the back now, where it kind of hugs the head a little more.
I just missed something. What is this? So decided to let us. No, okay, we're going to get out of the spider talk. You're going to trigger Anima if you're not careful, guys. Come on.
God.
Shut up, Gerry.
No, I'm being honest. You know, it's like I don't want to read them out loud. Brian, no one on set. No one set you up for that.
Check those big ass guns. Wow.
They are.
Don't forget to like,
enormous.
comment, and subscribe, guys. And leave a
If
comment.
I remember right, they basically made those by taking an M14 and cutting it down and taking the guts out of the stock. And
I don't think it was an M14. I thought it was the Mini 14 that they used.
No, it's the M14.
Was
it? Basically, they just took the guts out of the M14 and made a brand new plastic and fiberglass stock for it to be in there. And actually, the funny part is this movie actually had an influence on American firearm design, because when we were creating the XM8 program to compete for a possibility of replacing the M16, they basically took a Heckler and Koch G36, but the American brass literally went to Heckler and Koch and went, well, make it more Starship Troopers, because that movie had just come out at the time. So they made like that whole like kind of more sci-fi body kit, and that actually ended up being one of the things that was wrong with it, was the plastic wasn't heat treated well enough, so it would just start melting if the gun got too hot.
Now I'm going to point out something here. Here's another alum from Total Recall. He played the part of Quado. Also, Michael Ironside kind of looks like Dom DeLuise here.
Yeah, a little bit.
They got it in the mind. Yeah. He's terrified. I like it the way he gets taken out.
Everybody
liked it. Yeah. He goes straight out the bitch, doesn't he?
Jake's busy characters even laugh at it.
Some of the coolest deaths in the film were there at that little fort.
Oh, yeah.
The decapitations, 2 decapitations. And it was fucking cool the way they pulled it off. And absolutely, and I've always felt that this was inspired by Beaugest, the way they did this scene.
Yeah.
Beaugest with a little bit of Zulu in there.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of those people. She's a Bond girl. A lot of people don't know that. Denise Richards is a Bond girl.
She was.
And I don't think she's a very good actor. She's just eye candy. And
Christmas Jones was her name as a Bond girl. What a deal.
That's right.
Dr. Christmas Jones. Yes. The World Is Not Enough. Go check it out.
I've always complained about it, Alpha, that the worst part is, and you heard Dale Dye here earlier say it, that the body armor was garbage. The whole idea behind it was just garbage. There was nothing practical about the armor at all. And anybody who knows the book knows that there were mech warriors.
Yeah,
The
they were
Japanese anime that came out in the 80s is so much better.
Oh yeah, and also not only the newer computer animated movies that they've come out with in this universe, but also
yes,
shortly after this movie came out, there was a not great quality CGI TV show that they came out with that I actually enjoyed quite a bit as a kid. Called
Never
Roughnecks.
watched it.
It was, I mean,
Rico's Roughnecks.
Yeah, well, the video, the visual quality was pretty terrible because it was a CGI show in 1999. But
yeah,
but for his time was
pretty good.
Was good. For his time was good.
Oh yeah.
You have to remember the rest of the shows that were Transformers, Transmetal, no.
Beast Wars, yeah.
Beast Wars and Reboot. So Starship Trooper looked great for his time.
By the way, one of the ways I used to piss off all my because I have a lot of friends who are fans of Transformers, I'd walk around singing Transmorphers, robots eating pies. And they just look at me like, what the fuck did you just say? It's this show I just saw. It's about these robots that look like machines and all they do is eat pie. It's called Transmorphers. And they would just like look at me like, are you fucking with me?
You can just hear the reeing in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to run
Here
home
you
from
go.
college to see that show, man. Oh, look at that. Now that's
This is the
badass
Japanese
looking.
anime version that came out in the 80s. And I love this movie. I have it on my hard drive.
That's a borderline
No,
Gundam suit right there,
you have
man.
the movie version because I have this complete series as a TV show.
I have 2 videos. I've never watched them. I've wanted to go back to see them because I watched it when it came to the U.S. the first time back in the 80s. But I really did love it. I will tell you something else I really love in this film is the visual effects and practical effects used with the fighting of these fucking bugs.
Yeah. They did a good job. They really did. It's a good balance of the CGI and the practical effects. I mean, they did a really good job on it. They really did.
Her death scene I always thought was just overly acted, but it's an important scene. I still tear up when I watch this scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. Hate it.
They should have left that thing in. She wouldn't have bled out so quickly.
Yep.
That's like never remove an impaled object.
Never.
You let the medical staff do that.
That's
So
right.
they can try to control the bleeding.
That's
I
it.
get when it's your own reflex, but they come to help her and they pull it out, and that's stupid.
Just yeah.
And
What are you doing?
They should know that. They should know that.
The
Look at
visual
that,
effects stand up to today with those bugs.
They sure do.
They do.
That's amazing.
Well, in fact, there was a game that came out a couple of years ago, like a top-down strategy game for Starship Troopers, and they still use the same arachnid designs.
Yep.
They still use the same CG images and animations and all that. And it still looks just as good now as it did in 1997.
I wish there had just been a little more subtle nature to the way she dies.
Yeah.
I thought the over-the-top acting was ridiculous. I've watched a lot of people die. I've been there, and it's not like that. The closest I've ever seen to that was when somebody was writhing in agony, and we drugged them up so they would stop being in pain.
Now, I've always thought that the guy that plays the pilot, Denise Richards' guy there, he could be a body double for the dude from Will and Grace, couldn't he? I mean, he looks exactly
He really does look like him.
Yeah.
I know it's not him, but I think of him every time I see that dude. Once again, look at that shot, man. Those models are cool as hell looking, man. They really are.
Burial at sea, in the sea of space.
Yep.
I do like this scene. There's
brings Wrath of
certain
Khan to
amount.
mind. You know?
Yeah, it reminds me of that scene. There's a lot of verisimilitude in this scene. And you know what? The thing I love about this film and RoboCop is that whatever it was that Verhoeven was trying to do, he failed and made a good film instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with both of these. Is like he kind of made a cult classic movie
Both are
by
intentionally
accident.
trying to be overly fascist, and he ends up pulling off something that people liked and characters.
Yeah, and it's almost like these movies are great despite what Verhoeven wanted. Like audiences just
spite
saw
of
through
him.
it and went and took what
Exactly,
they
it's in
wanted out of
spite
the
of
film.
him. Good use of the word, in spite of. Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing I complained about is
and audiences just took what they wanted out of the movie, and it was completely different from what Verhoeven wanted everyone to see.
Yeah. The other thing that's, and I brought it up earlier, is they really should have done a better job of showing the passage of time by the changing of their hair.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of screwed up the way he did that.
Boy, Doogie's looking hard bitten at this point in the film, isn't he? He looks like a totally
Go back
different
to that
person at
last
this
comment,
point.
Martin.
He's not sleeping well. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
This is one of them that I brought up to Anima when we watched the film. Is there's this theory out there that the powers that be started the war, and they're the ones who called that asteroid attack, the meteorite attack, them. That's what was happening in the book. It's what happened in the film. One of the things they kept in is they were attacked.
I was going to ask, was that the case in the book? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, at all.
In fact, in the book, I believe it's even more clear that the bugs basically attack them for no real reason, other than the arachnids just don't get along with other races.
Right?
Yeah, the whole point is that their reaction to anything encroaching its territory is a threat and must be destroyed.
Oh my
They
God.
enjoy sucking brains, the big ones. Or is that just one big one? I don't know.
This just
Yeah,
looks
and
like
the reason they are is they're actually consuming information from the human brain when they do it. It's their way of by eating the human brain, they understand how humans think. It's really fucking weird.
And
It takes
weirdly
humans
enough,
so
that
long
actually
to
made
figure
it
that out.
into Warhammer 40K as one of the powers Space Marines have is they can actually gain intelligence on their opponent by eating parts of the dead.
wow.
But that's more because Warhammer is grimdark as hell. So
Yeah.
Another.
Well, actually,
bridge.
it is being shipped back to Earth. They just shot it at Earth, and it'll take it a couple of years to get home.
Those visuals are just awesome. Wow. I love the space stuff in this. I think it's great.
yeah, the space scenes are wicked underrated, and unfortunately, we didn't get more of that.
Yeah.
This is the moment where her character, this actress's character was cut into two parts.
Not really. It was more like Smash.
It's a fucking joke, Dick.
And the thing is, this actress, she appears in the second movie as a different character.
We don't talk about the second
I was
movie.
fixing to
That
say,
never
I've
happened.
never seen another Starship Troopers movie. There's only one as far as I'm
3
concerned.
is so bad it's amazing. 2 just don't talk about, and the first of the animated movies is actually really good.
Oh, the second one too.
What, Trader of Mars?
Trader of Mars. I like Trader of Mars.
I wasn't a huge fan of that one. The one before it that was amazing.
Oh no, the previous is better, but second is not bad.
But if you haven't seen either one, I would definitely.
The joke.
Yeah, I'm not. I said I don't. I'm trying to keep that from up there because of Anima. I used to think humans are, as the invaders, sci-fi would be a unique perspective, but with a lot of people and fiction today being misanthropic, I think the concept is maybe 2 decades out of date.
Yeah.
Okay. He's what they call a retard. Most people
I think
seriously.
he just wanted the funeral scene for the emotional aspect.
Good night, Penny.
Get some rest.
Yeah, never going to happen, Jeebus.
Oh, if they were to redo Starship
Look.
Troopers, I would definitely want to see these series because there's so much you can do in this universe that has never been done before or never been covered. Then I would love to see them start with like the book and then see where they go.
Yeah.
I went to see Arachnophobia when I was in the Army. I was in uniform on leave. And I sat down to watch that film, and I was in Phoenix. It was Phoenix, Arizona. I was visiting my family, and I sat my drink down. There were no cup holders in the seat. So I had to sit my drink on the floor. And at one point during the watching of that film, I tucked my pant legs into my fucking boots. And I looked like a paratrooper. And I could not bring myself to reach down and grab my own fucking drink.
Oh, wow.
I was so impacted by watching that movie. So
See,
yeah, my stepson David is deathly afraid of them. Yeah.
if they were to readapt Starship Troopers, would you want to make a film or no? Absolutely. Well, the way they should have done this is 2 to 3 films. And if you do it as a film, you got to do it as 2 or 3 films to get it right.
Would it work? Here's
as a limited series, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to
a limited
say
series, either a limited
series,
series or a trilogy. Or
I mean, they're having
2 films.
success. Like, for instance, Reacher. They're taking one of the books and making it like an 8 episode.
Wait, there's a second part to the question. Okay. Would you have direct? Oh, who would you have direct?
I would have somebody that knows
Spielberg.
something about the military.
Dale
Dale Dye would be great. Dale Dye is DGA. He could direct it.
And Dale would be an excellent choice for a director or even just like a executive producer that's kind of running the whole show and kind of has say on everything from the aesthetic to the cast. Main cast.
He is a fan of the book.
I would actually probably put Adam Driver in one of the main roles because he's a former Marine.
Yeah,
he understands military stuff, and I think he'd love doing it. I think I remember seeing an interview with him where he says Starship Troopers was a huge influence on him. So
yeah,
I would love to put him in that role. And he's a good actor. He's just been in some really bad movies.
He's really good. Yeah.
For the rest of the cast, I'm not sure though. There's not a lot of really top tier talent in modern Hollywood.
This is the problem, Snort. It is the problem. And we would need, I would only hire somebody with some military background. I'll tell you one guy. I'll tell you a guy that would probably be good at it. And despite his political leanings, Rod Lurie would probably be the best director today. He's the guy who did the Outpost.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly did great on that one.
You think Taylor Sheridan could do something with this, or you think he's too grounded for this?
I'm nervous about Taylor Sheridan in military. He's great with stuff that deals with cowboy shit, but his last military show was garbage.
Yeah,
Lioness. I fucking hated that show.
I heard he was just a producer on that, though.
It's the vagina bug.
Ooh.
If Taylor Sheridan touches stuff like that, he needs a very good military advisor.
The fuck, Keith?
What
version of what?
Harry Potter came out later. He's making a joke.
Yeah.
Ooh, Will and Grace buys it. Oh,
yeah,
in a nasty way. Woof. Bummer. Ooh.
You know, he's like, you're going to kill me, but someday someone just like me is going to come here and fucking kill you.
Then he gets his brain sucked out. That scene was so good.
The irony here is that he gave his knife to her So he could have actually saved his own life by cutting that stem.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But she had the knife.
Well, he was so
Rainbow.
busy shit talking to that thing, he probably wouldn't have figured it out.
Wow.
Sorry, Greg from Fanzine just posted something that got my attention. It's funny. Biggs sucks the brains and tells him
He's
he's
a
Gryffindor.
I agree with Reed by Nature on this one. Exterminatus, nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
That's a 40K reference. for
That's
those
what
of
the
you
Colonial
talking.
Marines would do.
That's right.
Well, that's a 40K reference where basically if the Imperium is losing a planet or thinks there's no hope of saving it, they will literally wipe it clean of all life.
Exterminatus
deny it the
is
enemy.
the term? Is that it?
Exterminatus.
If we can't have it, nobody will.
Well, because basically all of the threats in the 40K universe are either basically the Xenos from Alien or worse, giant angry fungus people that are basically football hooligans, or the literal forces of hell.
Enjoy.
Bye, Glenn.
Bye, Glenn. Take care.
Ariel is
Cheers,
here.
mate.
Wow, radio.
Hey, look at that. That's how the limeys do it. One limey leaves, another one comes in.
Oh, Wait, Ariel is a limey? I didn't
No,
know that.
Ariel is American.
Oh, I thought
No,
I thought
she's here in
Ariel
the
was-
States.
Yeah, that's what I
She's
thought.
here in the States.
Ah, and she's on my side.
This is pretty cool. I like this scene right here. I know it's cheesy as shit, but I think it's cool. When he says he's afraid, yeah, very cool.
Hey, Wade. I left my
Interesting
heart to
combo.
a Starship Trooper. Okay. I'll take that out. What interesting combo.
Ariel. She says she's Irish and Portuguese.
This, of course, is Dale's scene. That's Dale there in the middle. His character's name is just General.
General.
Think I knew a doctor.
The funny one for me was we had a major sergeant and a sergeant majors.
I had a friend who was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and his last name was Major.
Yep. Although one of our drill instructors had the perfect name for a drill instructor you've ever heard. His name was Staff Sergeant Hate.
Wow. You imagine that? Good Lord. I'd be
Spelled
scared
that way
to
too.
that dude.
Imagine being a brand new recruit and you see the brown round and a name tape that just says
Oh,
hate on it.
man.
Just like, oh no.
Lord, no.
By the way, when I was in the Army, it just for some reason just popped into my head because of their helmets. I had this guy. He was my battle buddy in reception. I love that censored. He was my battle buddy in reception. Anybody who's been in the military knows what reception is. And he looked like one of those guys that was laid down on his back too much. And so he got a flat side of his head with that weird ridge point on top.
Mm-hmm.
Very narrow headed. And it was wide and it had that weird fucking point on top. And when we all got fitted for our helmets, our Kevlars, he was like last in the fucking line, dude. And they gave him a helmet that was a size too small.
Ooh.
So his helmet sat on the top of his fucking head a little
Yeah.
bit, and it just made him look even more retarded. And it just fucking funny, man. And it led to a really funny moment later on because this guy was a fucking idiot. I mean, he was really fucking dumb. He came running into the barracks one time in a panic. And I'm sitting there with the gang. We're just all talking on a bunch of us just sitting one bunk, a row of us and a row of us on the other bunk. Basically, just talking. He comes running rude, just red. He was a ginger. So he had like was blush red in the face, just bright red. And I looked at him, hold on, guys. What's going on? You need something? And he says, yeah, I'm looking for my battle buddy. He had a thick old fucking country boy accent. Yeah, I'm looking for my battle buddy. I said, you are you? I'm his battle buddy. And I said, do you remember what he looks like? Well, I don't remember quite, but I know it's what he looked like if I saw him. I went, oh, well, do you think he's this guy? Puerto Rican guy sitting across from me. He's, oh no, he weren't no Mexican. I'm like,
oh, look out.
Puerto Rican. Was he maybe this guy? Black guy. He goes, no, he weren't no blackie. I swear to God, he said that word. Said blackie. And I'm like, chill, guys, chill. I said, was he this guy? And it was Holland, my buddy Holland. He still had orange hair coming up out of his head. He was a big old bright orange ginger. And he goes, no, he's too big and muscular. No, he's not him. I said, well, is it possible that it's me? And he gets this look on his face like, oh, yeah, it is you. Says it just like that. Oh, yeah, it is you. I said, oh, what did you need me for? And he goes, oh, drill sergeant wants to see you. I said, we don't have drill sergeants. They're just sergeants. Well, the sergeant wants to see you. I'm like, all right. So I go out there and find out what it was. And it was to supervise a guy. He'd shit himself. And I had to supervise the cleaning of the bathroom where he shit himself.
Oh, shit.
And so anyway, we leave reception and go to basic training. And that guy is still in the company, but he's down on another platoon in another building. So I didn't have to deal with him much. But here I was reminded of these stupid fucking things he would do. Like he could not remember his number. You were given a number when you showed up there, and it was put on your fucking duffel bag. And you had to memorize that number because they didn't call you by your name. They called you by that number. And once he was made my battle buddy, he forgot that number once, and I got in trouble for it. So they made me do an infinite amount of push-ups. Mm-hmm. And later on, I said, look, man, here's what you're going to do. We got these wrist watches with the Velcro strip over top of the clock face, the watch face, to block it from reflecting light and protect the face from being broken. I said, you're going to write your fucking number inside of that. And so anytime they call your number, all you got to do is peel that open and look and see if that's the number they called. That way you don't get me in trouble again. Okay? And so he did. So weeks went by and we're doing the grenade range. I told you guys that story about the grenade, and I passed and I went on out there and I actually sat down on the training area's bleachers. And I'm sitting there and a bunch of guys are there, and it's a little overcast. It was a really gloomy, cool day. And he's sitting there and I start telling the story about him, all the fucked up things he did during reception, from the forgetting his number to not knowing who the fuck I was when I was his battle buddy. I tell all of that, but I end with the wristwatch thing. And then he's like laughing. He goes, oh boy, that guy, he's an idiot. And I went, yeah. And it's you. And he goes, no, it ain't. I said, yes, it is you. And I can prove it. He goes, how you going to prove it? I said, open your wristwatch band. And he peeled it open. I said, and there's a number I made you write. He goes, you do that.
Like you're a magician, huh?
That cracked everybody up when he did that. It was like, it's not a magic trick. You're the guy I was talking about. And I went, I give up. I just walked away from him.
Right.
You know, that guy had an IQ that was like about 50 or 60. He was fucking dumb. And you can score, I think, as low as a 45 and get infantry in the army. It's either 45 or 50. And I'm guaranteeing you that's what he scored.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, you're considered not mentally competent to take the test. Like, you cannot give informed consent.
Are you talking about the ASVAB?
You are so dumb, you can't give consent.
You're talking about
that's the scary
right?
thing about dumb people is they do reproduce. How they get laid, I'll never know.
Gary, you are talking about the ASVAB, right?
Because he probably made it with another dummy, dumb enough to fall for it.
That's always the funny part is the Marines get, stereotyped as like the dumbest branch of the military, yet we have the highest minimum entry for our ASVAB scores.
You know the radiation belt doesn't work that way, right, Mikey? That's not how the Van Allen belt works.
Yeah.
We go to a point where it's at its thinnest. It's a zenith. And we go through that. And it's no more than getting a handful of x-rays. The radiation you get hit by. And by the way, aluminum does block radiation. That's why it sparks in a microwave. Just science, man.
How else are you supposed to block those mind control lasers the government puts on you?
No, we would not. That's just pure rubbish, buddy. That's pure rubbish. I think you're fucking around right now because that's not even close to true. That is not how the Van Allen belt works. You would not be fucking roasted if you go through the zenith. So no.
Not to mention, we've sent people out past Van Allen belts before.
What's that?
The Apollo program was.
Yeah. Yeah. I just I don't interact with that as an argument. We never went into space. We never went to the moon.
Okay.
Sure.
My
There's a line from Forrest Gump. There's a line from Forrest Gump that is attributed here, which is stupid is as stupid does.
Yep.
I think my
where's the
brother's
science and you learn that
that's
not true.
Yeah.
A lot of the flat earth and we didn't land on the moon.
Yeah, the
people
flat
are
earth
just trolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite one was I did a comic book for a guy and he was just the nicest guy. He really was. And I thought we could have a really long relationship working because we got along so well. And then he told me that he was a moon landing denier. And I went, well, it was nice knowing you. And he thought I was kidding. I've never talked to him again. I cannot be friends with somebody that's that dense.
Right.
Just can't do it.
Hey, boss, I have an excerpt from a documentary talking about.
Yeah, that's right. You made that. So let's get to it.
Foxtrot 4, Blade 6. Or pass your unit through Blade 1, over. Doc? Casualties?
0, sir.
Very well.
Dale Dye was a military advisor on the picture, and basically it was his job to take the actors and to take the extras and make them look like soldiers on screen.
But you got to get deep before you make your turn. Yes, sir. Just get your squad leader in here in time, look for those rocks, and then make his cut.
He had formed this group called Warriors, Inc., and the first film he did, I think, was a picture called Platoon. After that, he was quite in demand and is sort of Mr. Hollywood military movie guy.
Lieutenant Willie, I'm trying to work on it here.
He was an ex-Marine Corps veteran who served in Vietnam. He takes it very seriously and was often annoyed at us for not following the strict Marine Corps line on various things.
Your people are to be screaming in full dudgeon at this point. This is war crime. We will kill some bastards, and I want to hear about it before you hit that camera.
Warriors Incorporated and Dye's whole reason for being is to set up accelerated, compacted, compressed,
hey, there's another friend of mine.
Periods of training, like little mini boot camps for actors and performers before film starts.
The key is your right hand.
I've known him for years.
And be looking around controlling your unit.
We had a 11-day boot camp before the film started.
It was all on location in Casper, Wyoming. They took the primary
completely
people out
gray
and
now.
showed them military maneuvers, how to handle weapons, varying tactics and that
still
type
happen.
of thing.
We went to Wyoming and we were there for 2 weeks. We were in a real
boot camp situation in the middle of nowhere. We did field training exercises every day for 2 weeks. And he really trained us well. He got us in a mindset that was totally different.
We get you, sir!
By the time the 2 weeks had gone by and the actual crew for the film showed up there, we were all sitting around looking at the crew thinking, you know, oh, you civilian idiots decide to show up, huh? Who, you're nothing. Who are you? We were, in essence, soldiers for real.
Are there any questions? No, sir. Is there anyone who cannot see the sign with the oath of enlistment on it?
No, sir.
Very well. Raise your right hand.
I do now, of my own free will, after having been duly advised and warned of the meaning and consequences of this oath, enrolled in federal service for not less than 2 years, and much longer than may be required by the means of the Federation.
Keep your right hand in the air. Stand by to do it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, clear.
I miss that mustache.
Captain Dye, who had trained the primary cast, also handpicked 4 or 5 of the extras and put them into the boot camp at the same time. Once they had graduated, he put them in charge of their own squads and platoons of extras.
Try to listen up. Our cue is going to be delayed. We're going to be cued on the
That is
radio
so
by the
cool that
captain.
you did that.
So stand by. It's going to be a little bit longer.
He made his own Fedaykin.
By the way, I want to show this picture. This is Timothy Omenson in the film, best known for playing Lassie in the TV series Psych.
Mm.
And he is in Starship Troopers.
We have this question from Ariel.
No. Dale Dye should have worked on that film. I think certain things would have been better. Mel Gibson has his own guy, and same with Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was told that he should have used Dale Dye, especially when he made American Sniper, because a lot of the mistakes made in that film wouldn't have been made if he'd had Dale Dye.
Yeah.
He does. He absolutely has that voice. You can hear him in a lot of movies. You hear his and R. Lee Ermey's voice in films. Ermey's voice is used in Apocalypse Now. You can hear him over the intercoms or the inner radio on the helicopter scenes. That's R. Lee Ermey's. And they were friends. I got to meet Ermey because of working for Dale. And Dale, of course, is also
an enunciated voice. I think every Marine has their own variant of that drill voice.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. That lilt is undeniably Marine, no doubt.
If you watch that really bad Indiana Jones film, The Crystal Skull, the voice you hear at Nuketown is Dale Dye. That's Dale Dye's voice as the announcer for the test blast. So does Starship Troopers universe based on sort of fascism or authoritarianism?
Nope.
It still uses democracy in a certain way, but we're not
essentially.
We're not a democracy. I tell people all the time, we are a republic, a constitutional republic specifically. But what he thought was you had 2 tiers of citizenry, and everybody was treated the same way. You just had extra or additional rights as an actual citizen.
Political rights.
You were allowed to vote if you served your country.
And you were
didn't have to just be
and run for office.
And could run for office. You couldn't run for office or vote without it.
This is important. Everybody says to me, "Oh, but because only the citizens and not the civilians." Yeah, but you as a civilian, you can opt out. You can opt to become a citizen. You are not sidelined forever. You can persevere.
In a lot of ways, it's a
wait. That's another misconception. The movie makes you think that only military service makes you a citizen. and that's not right. You can do it by civil service, and the process is longer.
Okay, the movie doesn't touch on that at all.
Yep,
The movie doesn't touch on half of how the Federation actually runs, or the history behind it, and why veterans are the ones who are able to vote.
Would you say it's more like populism?
It's much more voluntarism than anything else, where you can just live in that society and have all the benefits that it entails. You just don't get a say in how it's run. Whereas if you want to go that extra mile and have a say in the future of that society and how it is run day to day, you do have to sign on the dotted line and give of yourself to prove that you are capable and willing to sacrifice for the greater.
And, and my response to that is just very simply this. Are you doing your part?
That meme is one of the funniest things you'll ever see. That's used in so many areas, man.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. I ain't
Yeah, I
doing
fun. I just love the kid poking his head. I'm doing my part. I just thought that's funny.
Yeah.
I still laugh at it.
Everybody, even around him, starts laughing.
Yeah. Don't forget that you can find the anime series. Look it up sometime and watch this. I think it's on Crunchyroll. Is it on Crunchyroll? I think that's where I found it. Was on Crunchyroll. So they used to have some really good stuff on there, but they've changed a lot. They became a little socio-political. Yes, volunteer, no volunteer service.
Do they still have a free version of Crunchyroll, or is it totally?
No, that's a free version.
Yeah,
that is a free version.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I became a combat medic because I was a conscientious objector, which my first sergeant made the mistake of calling me a pacifist. And I went, I am not a pacifist. I found it on YouTube, old anime series of Starship Troopers. There you go. Share it. If you can't share it on here, share it on Twitter to Martin. And he can share it here for everybody.
I joined the MP Corps because it was the coolest thing listed under the college fund program when I joined.
And to steal a line from Full Metal Jacket, I wanted to be the first kid on my block with a confirmed kill.
You get a confirmed kill.
That's right. Because the Pope rocks. If I can do this right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not called special rights, it is called earned rights. And he felt that some people abuse the liberty and rights that we're given and don't really appreciate that. And so therefore he put it in his book that this is how it should be run. And I really do believe he felt that way. And I don't agree with him on that at all, because I took that oath, man, as you guys did too, to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And something like that is unconstitutional. Because even Anima said that one time, that people should be able to, should pass a test before being allowed to take a test or to vote. And I'm like, just not how it works, man. Liberty.
It should be how it works, though.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, that's actually in there, man. We have the right to pursue happiness.
That's it.
We have the right to pursue happiness.
That's it. Should able-bodied people and able-minded...
Now, Don is saying I didn't send him a link, and I sent it through Skype to him.
Somebody still uses Skype? Wow.
Don does. And that's the only reason why Gerry and I are using it for Don Ecker. I had to dig it up and find my account and password and everything. I haven't used it in like 15 years or more.
I'm going to go double check, but I'm positive I sent it to him.
Well, we're about to wrap anyway. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right there. I even put a message in it for tomorrow. Here, I'll show it to you. Shows you how much he reads my fucking messages.
Well, I'm not gonna fault him for that.
There you go. Oh, wrong one. I hate this about Skype. It doesn't fill the full image. I hate Windows 11. I really do. There we go. Right there.
I don't see
For
why
tomorrow's
it's
Military Monday, StreamYard.
exactly the same thing.
Yep.
Well, the thing about, get back to what we were talking about. The thing about it is you don't want to force people into jobs they don't want to do. That's for sure. I would not want to serve with people that did not want to be in the military. That would.
No,
that would
I
be
do
tough.
believe
I can
in
imagine it was tough when the draft was in.
the
I'm
draft.
sure that was very tough.
I believe in the draft, but I don't think the draft should just be for the military. It should be any kind of service for the United States that you should do a
Yeah.
minimum of 2 years.
Well, that was
like
the
I said,
concept behind
Austria
basic
has
training.
that. Austria has that, but only for males, and I think
Yeah,
it sucks
jury duty.
that it's only mandatory for men.
And I'm going to tell you
For
something.
everyone.
Oh, I have never been called on to serve jury duty. And I know people who've been called multiple times.
I've been called
Not
once. I never actually served on a jury, but I got called once.
I have, yeah, never had to serve on one, but had to go to the courthouse, be counted, that kind of thing.
Well, and that's the same thing as the draft in a lot of ways of, hey, I know you guys got other stuff going on in your lives, but this is one of the prices of being a citizen is you don't have to like it, but you got to show up.
Right.
Okay, the link to the anime is in the chat.
Nice.
Oh, there you go. Thank you for putting it in there. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes, Abdullah. Thank you very much.
Ariel's always good for an extreme view.
Yeah.
Ariel the Bullet Ballet. So here we go. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed having Dale Dye on the show. I want to thank Emmanuel for being here. Snorty. Hello, Snorty. Lauren, of course, dropped in. Deleted Scenes, Mephisto's Movie Reviews, Pope Metallicus, Shinatsky, Read by Nature, Just Another Red Shirt, Kingsport Cow, Glenn Fleming, Bumpy Johnson. Really?
Yeah.
That's a
You don't know what that name is?
Nope.
Any of you guys know who Bumpy Johnson is?
No. That's a first.
The real Bumpy Johnson. We'll talk about it after the show. James Caserta.
James Caserta, yes.
Shatan's Hammer. Andy Morrow. Penny. Monkey Jibas. Thank you. Come again. 11 Alpha. Abdulio. Scribe Light. Awesome one. Mr. Tickle Trunk. Thank you for your contributions today. Tickle Trunk. Appreciate it. Cam's Crash Courses. E-Hacker, my buddy John. That's John Jon. He has no H in his name. Let's see. CJ with the Action Grip. Our Zach's Kyle who's here. Keith. Our buddy Keith. Dragon Ruse, Real Wade Nation, Eastland Burkholder, and Captain November 66 and Dutch Butters was here. Thank you all for showing up. Pope, thanks for popping on, man. I didn't expect that from you.
We miss you.
Yeah, man. Well, I had a day off of work, so
Quit your job.
I saw you guys.
Quit your
Yeah,
job.
quit your job and come back. We need you back.
For the good of
Go
the
on
channel,
welfare.
Pope. Come on.
Just go on welfare, and that way you can do the show again.
Yeah, I had the day off, and I saw you guys were doing one of my cult favorite movies. So I was just like, and Dale Dye was going to be on. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come on. Fuck it.
Whoa, Ariel is calling you out.
No, I said Ariel's name. I actually said Ariel the Bullet.
Yeah.
He surely did.
I said it twice, 3 times now.
She's just
Based
playing
on
with
his
you.
avatar, I would say Jazz. So we'll talk about the show. Anyway, everybody have a great day today, and happy Monday, man. Start of another fucking work week.
Yeah, but a short one for me. Yay.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Thursday's a holiday.
Not for everybody else. Yay for you.
For me, it's a great week.
So
only 3 days of work.
ciao, guys.